Good afternoon, I'm Brian Reagan. This is
Tyler Kelly.
and we welcome you to our midday meditation. Today we're in Luke 9:57 through 62. None of you saw that. He moved by a tiny Jedi mind trick.
I like it. Now it happened as they journeyed on the road that someone said to him, Lord, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Then he said to another, Follow me. But he said, Lord, let me first go and bury my father. Jesus said to him, Let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and preach the kingdom of God. Another also said, Lord, I would follow you, but let me first go and bid them farewell who are at my house. But Jesus said to him, No one having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God.
Okay. So a lot of times people use this to say that Jesus didn't have a home. No, that's not the point. It's just Jesus didn't get to spend much time at his home. He did have a home in Capernaum. There's a couple times when you're reading the Gospels and it says, and when they came into his house, and people, and depending upon how you read that pronoun, you think, well, maybe it's talking about the other person. No, it's Jesus's. It was Jesus's house that they ripped the roof open on. People, no, Jesus, he had a home in Capernaum. Peter and Andrew lived there. That's where he healed Peter's mother-in-law, was in Capernaum. But when it's Peter's house, they say, and they went to Peter's house. When he went to Zacchaeus' house, Jesus said, Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house today. When he was in the Pharisee's house, and the woman came up and was, crying and washing his feet with her tears and all that, it says, and, he was in the Pharisee's house. Okay? But the point here was you had people that followed Jesus because if he's really the Messiah and I get on board with his team, maybe I can get hooked up with all kinds of cool stuff when he comes into power if I'm one of the early ones. Don't lose that people were trying to use Jesus like that. Even the apostles tried to use Jesus like that. You remember what one big instance where the apostles tried to use that? Two guys and their mama?
Mm-hmm. James and John. Well, sit right and your left.
Yeah. When you come into your kingdom, give us the thrones on each side of you. And even as Jesus is getting ready to ascend into heaven, they're like, so you bringing the kingdom back now, sir? And Jesus is like, would y'all quit? It's in my Father's care. You guys go do the job I gave you. Just go do the job. Because how many times was Jesus ever home? Jesus wasn't home much. And, I've known some preachers, Tyler, they had one church for 40 years. And, for those guys, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you were able to find some place where they liked you, you liked them, and all of you agreed to work together in spite of all of your difficulties for 40 years. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I've known other preachers that they've preached for 40 or 50 years, and they've moved 18 times. Doesn't mean they're bad preachers, doesn't mean there was necessarily bad churches. The point is, the nature of the work of the kingdom of God, some people get to stay put, but most people, you're going to go wherever the Lord sends you next. And that's kind of Jesus' point. Jesus' home on earth was so he had a fixed place to stay when he was in town. But most of his time, he didn't get to enjoy his home very much. And you look at these other, let me go bury my father. Jesus said, let the dead bury their own dead. You need to go and proclaim the kingdom of God. And then we have this other one. Well, let me go and tell my family goodbye. And I think it's funny, that last one, do you remember what person that last one is kind of an allusion to? Not an illusion, but an allusion. Allusion. It's all right. Elisha. Elijah came up, threw the mantle on him, and Elisha said, hey, I'll follow you, Elijah. Let me go home, say goodbye to my parents. And Elijah's like, what do I care? I threw the mantle on you. I don't care. Go do what you got to do. And you say, no. Because then what did Elisha do after he went and said goodbye to his parents? The oxen that he'd been plowing the field with, and the yoke and everything else, he killed his ox, built a bonfire, cooked it, invited everybody for a supper, because what? He was done being a farmer. Now some of you, wait, you just said we take care of our animals. But animals are also food sometimes. But until the day that you put that animal down to use it for food, you're supposed to treat it a certain way. God says so. And so you could have some people that I have no doubt this guy was probably thinking, oh man, Jesus done zing these other two fellers. I'll use the Elisha line. And Jesus shoots him down. Because the difference was, when Elisha went and said goodbye to his family, he had no intention of ever going back home again. And how do I know that? Yeah. Can you imagine someone saying, the Lord called me to preach, Tyler. So this Saturday, I'm having a burning of all my John Deere tractors in the middle of my field. We're going to set, $2.5 million worth of tractors on fire. That way I can't come back to farming. Well, oh man, that's woo. Guy thought he was going to sound spiritual, and Jesus knocked the props out from under him. So, other thoughts on this one?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
He says you better start talking, boy.
I talked earlier.
Little Lou Diamond's got his eye on you now. Be careful. Be careful. I'm Brian Reagan. This is Tyler Kelly. And Lord willing, we'll see you tonight. But also, Lord willing, we'll also see you Sunday morning, 9:30, 10:30 this Easter Sunday. Live stream or in person. And remember, if you come to Bible class with your kid, if you're in the Lake Butler area, you'll be able to participate in our Easter egg hunt after Bible class. Until then.